Believe it or not, you're listening to the most influential urban conservative talk show in the world. It is the Exceptional Conservative Show, live from the nation's capital on SHR Night, Stackheads Radio Night. It's Wednesday night, people. But on every night, we must say, we are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation. First to the Republican and then the Democrat. Yours truly, the exceptional one here. Mary Brockman, my bouncer, is in the chat roll. Mrs. Biggs is watching us via live stream and Ustream. Oh, this is great. This is absolutely wonderful. Forgive me. Had to quench that thirst there. Tonight is a funny night. It's just all kinds of hilarious things are happening around the world. A peace march for Black Lives Matter ends up in a fight. The Washington Metro trains that run underground, one's pulling into the Navy Yard, and as it's braking, it decouples. Almost 2 feet apart are where the trains end up. They have to be craned out. Ladies and gentlemen, there is so much more wackiness that we'll be talking about tonight. This special night where we talk about the Taxman Cometh, preparing for the 2015 tax return year. Yes, we are live from the nation's capital. Let's make this very clear and very plain. Tonight is going to be a very eventful night. It's going to take up a lot of time regarding taxes. I know it's a boring subject to a lot of people. But it's very important to me because, unfortunately, I have to pay taxes. You know, that's the way it works. But, ladies and gentlemen, we have to really take a look at our tax code. We really do. Because it really doesn't help the people that it's intended to help, and it hurts a lot of people along the way. And so, we'll talk about taxes tonight, getting yourself prepared for the tax season. I'm in the process of preparing to run a tax program where people come in and get their taxes done for free, and it's one of the best in the area. Not shining a light on myself, just shining a light on the people that I work with. They do a great and wonderful job. And we serve nearly 1,000 people a year. We do their taxes, and it's absolutely free. Absolutely free. They get some of the best advice possible, when you come in, about financial counseling and everything else. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we are. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. I have 2 great, wonderful weekly guests that come on. Shannon Wright will be with us at the 10:30 hour. She'll be talking about Be More Chatter and a whole lot of other stuff that's going on around the country. Our good friend, we're going to release the KRAKEN at 10 p.m. Yes, Ralph CHITTAMS will be joining us, and boy, does he have a story he wants to talk about tonight. It's been crazy here in Washington, D.C., and it all was kicked off this week by the illustrious Barack Hussein Obama. Like I said before, we are certainly not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation. First to the Republican and then the Democrat. Well, I correct myself, because no Democrat can tell you the difference between a socialist and a Democrat. So it is the power of liberation, first to the Republican and then the socialists. So until you all figure it out, which you probably won't, because guess what? Democrats today are really socialists. Took a while for us to get there, but that's what they are. We take off our hats. We lay them aside. We find our right hand and we put it on our heart. And we listen to the Pledge of Allegiance by Senora Cabrera. Take it away, Senora.
Buenas tardes, niños. This is Spanish with Senora Cabrera. Today we will learn how to say the Pledge of Allegiance in Spanish. In English, we say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, in Spanish we say, juro fidelidad a la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América y a la República que...
Wow. Okay, well, we thank you so much for that Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. Because I think she says, Jura fidelidad a la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América y a la República que representa una nación banja Dios, indivisible, con libertad y justicia para todos. Muy bien. Practice, people. And then you'll learn how to say it yourself. So there we go. Thank you, senor. He taught me well. Shoot, I know how to say it. Welcome, everyone, to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital, where there pictures galore over the past few weeks. Remember when the gentleman on Fox News referred to the President of the United States as a oofy? I didn't say the whole thing, but, Well, I've seen pictures of people creating football uniforms with ussy on the back. Nothing, I tell you, in terms of the pride of this particular nation was increased by watching the President of the United States fake tear. I mean, absolutely. We gain nothing from that. And as such, he has become a virtual joke, a living joke. No one should... You can become a joke to other people based on people making jokes about you, mind you. But you should never create the joke environment about yourself. And literally, he has, Barack Hussein Obama. And people are not just crying over this failed presidency. They're crying over the fact that their children will be paying for this failed presidency. And their children's children will be paying for it. And of course, we will. And how do we pay for it? We pay for it through the world of taxation. Yes, taxation. It was never the intent for men who are free to become slaves to taxes, and yet we have. Claude Frederic Bastiat wrote this particular essay, and I want to go over it with you. And then we'll talk. Yeah, we'll talk about all that, because I want to. Hey, I gotta fight this fight. I don't really want to pay taxes. I don't. I think the blood that you sweat and tears that you've taken from me, it should be sufficient for the year. I don't know. Take what you're supposed to get and don't ask for any more. Because literally what you do with taxes is that you give a loan to the government, a tax-free, interest-free loan to the federal government and to your state government. You give them a loan of your wealth, in which you're supposed to spend wisely, but admit to you every single year of their devoid nature of stewardship. They don't spend it wisely. They don't. We had to spend $200,000 on furniture for the mayor, and she needed a new office space. So, simply put, from the Bastiat collection, Claude Frederic Bastiat wrote That Which Is Seen and That Which Is Not Seen. He writes, have you never chanced to hear it said, there is no better investment than taxes? Now remember, this is written back in the 1700s, so this game that the socialists are playing, that you are making an investment in your community by raising taxes, is a bold-faced lie. Bold-faced. They've been doing this for hundreds of years, people. There is no better investment than taxes. Only see what a number of families it maintains, and consider how it reacts upon industry. It is an inexhaustible stream. It is life itself. In fact, I live in a city where no government program dies. It's just renamed, retooled, refashioned, reshaped, and reappropriated. Bastiat goes on to say, in order to combat this doctrine, I must refer to my preceding refutation. Political economy knew well enough that its arguments were not so amusing that it could be said of them, repetitions, please. It has, therefore, turned the proverb to its own use, well convinced that, in its mouth, repetitions teach. The advantages which officials advocate are those which are seen. The benefit which accrues to the providers is still that which is seen. This blinds all eyes. But the disadvantages which the taxpayers have to get rid of are those which are not seen. And the injury which results from it to the providers is still that which is not seen, although this ought to be self-evident. When an official spends for his own profit an extra 100 sous, it implies that a taxpayer spends for his profit 100 sous less. But the expense of the official is seen because the act is performed, while that of the taxpayer is not seen because, alas, he is prevented from performing it. You compare the nation, perhaps to be a parched tract of land, and the tax to a fertilizing rain. Be it so. But you ought to also ask yourself, where are the sources of this rain? And whether it is not the tax itself which draws away the moisture from the ground and dries it up. Now, y'all getting the feel here, right? You're getting the spirit here. Again, you ought to ask yourself whether it is plausible that the soil can receive as much of this precious water by rain as it loses by evaporation. There is one thing very certain, that when James B. counts out 100 sous for the tax gatherer, he receives nothing in return. Ladies and gentlemen, 50% of Americans don't pay taxes in reality, because either they don't owe either they don't owe or they're paid by the taxpayer. So understand what Boss is saying here. There is one thing very certain, that when James B. counts out 100 sous for the tax gatherer, he receives nothing in return. There ain't no money going back to him, the taxpayer. Oh, but where is it going? Let's find out. Afterwards, when an official spends these 100 sous and returns them to James B., it is for an equal value in corn or labor. The final result is a loss to James B. of 5 francs. We lose as taxpayers every time we pay taxes. I know you don't want to hear this. And Mary Brockman's absolutely right. It's theft. And the truth of the matter is, the money that you pay to the government, in terms of a loan to the government, which is tax-free and interest-free, to the government at least, you don't get all of that money back. How many of you all spend at least $5,000 a year in taxes and get more than $5,000 in a refund? You don't. It does. That game doesn't work that way. Now, some people say, well, with house deductions and everything, well, maybe in your first year you can get kind of close to that, but you never get back the full expense of what you pay in taxes. Well, Ken, it's not that kind of investment. Then why call it one? It's a tax. Let me go back to Bastiat. Bastiat says, It is very true that often, perhaps very often, the official performs for James B. an equivalent service. In this case, there is no loss on either side. There is merely an exchange. Therefore, my arguments do not at all apply to useful functionaries. And I would just want to say useful functionaries you would normally find in the private industry. There's an exchange. It's the value of the item that you are selling in exchange for my money. That's a tool of payment. Equality. You don't get equality when it comes to the government taking your wealth and then redistributing it, and then you applying 1 year later to get your money back that you paid more than you at least thought so. And then if you are due a refund, the small refund that you are due, you must wait at least 30 days to receive it, unless you give them your direct deposit information. So literally, you are paying someone to steal from you with the hope that you may get it back, but you certainly won't get any interest off of. Bastiat writes, last year I was on the Committee of Finance, for under the constituency the members of the opposition were not systematically excluded from all the commissions, and that the constituency acted wisely. We have heard M. Tears say, I have passed my life in opposing the legitimist party and the priest party. Since the common danger has brought us together, now that I associate with them and know them, and now that we speak face to face, I have found out that they are not the monsters I used to imagine them. If only we could say about the socialists and the Republicans the same thing. Yes, distrust is exaggerated. Hatred is fostered among parties who never mix. And if the majority would allow the minority to be present at the commissions, it would perhaps be discovered that the ideas of the different sides are not so far removed from each other. And above all, that their intentions are not so perverse as is supposed. However, last year I was on the Committee of Finance. Every time that one of our colleagues spoke of fixing at a moderate figure the maintenance of the President of the Republic, that of the ministers and of the ambassadors, it was answered this way. For the good of the service, it is necessary to surround certain offices with splendor and dignity, as a means of attracting men of merit to them. A vast number of unfortunate persons applied to the President of the Republic, and it would be placing him in a very painful position to oblige him to be constantly refusing them. Oh, dear me, the drapes are dreadful. I just can't stand being in the office with the President of the Republic. Screw you. A certain style in the ministerial saloons is a part of the machinery of constitutional governments. That's not the truth. You'll find out while we are looking at taxes that most of your money is wasted on the frugal aspirations of ambitious men. Think it through, people. I digress here. Let me go back to Bastiat, and then I'll come back in a few, and we'll talk about how to prepare to get your taxes done, and some of the big stuff that you can get refunds on, and a whole lot of other stuff. Tax system's broken, people. Take advantage of it. For instance, I want to agree with a drainer to make a trench in my field for 100 sous. Just as we have concluded our arrangement, the tax gatherer comes. Amazing. Takes my 100 sous and sends them to the Minister of the Interior. My bargain is at end, but the minister will have another dish added to his table. Upon what ground will you dare to affirm that this official expense helps the national industry? Do you not see that in this there is only a reversing of satisfaction in labor? A minister has his table better covered, it is true, but it is just as true that an agriculturist has his field worse drained. A Parisian tavern keeper has gained 100 sous. I grant you. But then you must grant me that a drainer has been prevented from gaining 100 sous. It all comes to this, that the official and the tavern keeper being satisfied is that which is seen. The field undrained and the drainer deprived of his job is that which is not seen. Dear me, how much trouble there is in proving that 2 and 2 make 4. And if you succeed in proving it, it is sad. The thing is so plain it is quite tiresome. And they vote as if you had proved nothing at all. Ladies and gentlemen, when we collectively agree for robbers to pickpocket us, trust me, they will vote every single time to make certain that they keep the option of robbing you more, since you are so willing to be pickpocketed. We'll be back, and we'll be talking about taxes. Get prepared, people. It's going to be a magnificent conversation. You're listening to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. I'm the Exceptional One, the King of 9 p.m. We'll be right back. Amazing.
I'm a good person. I never bothered anybody. But I can't afford a nice house in a safe neighborhood. I live in a government high-rise. Gangbangers and drug dealers walk down our halls every day. My neighbors and I were scared. We called the police, but they can't keep us safe. Some of us are too afraid to even leave our apartments. But the housing authority told me if I bought a gun to protect myself, they throw me to the streets. If I'm not free because of my address today, what makes you think you'll be free tomorrow? I marched behind Martin Luther King at Selma. I know my rights. Now I have my gun. I am the National Rifle Association of America, and I'm freedom's safest place.
Hi, my name is Christopher Arnold. I'm the executive chef of Infused Restaurant, and today I'm going to walk you through some of the meals that we prepare here. We're making a pizza. We use fresh Italian sausage that we cook here and slice it up. Our pizza dough is in-house made. Our pizza sauce is in-house made. So everything is fresh and ingredients. This is our Thai curry chicken. The sauce is made with coconut milk and the Thai red curry. It is juicy chicken thighs as well as some mixed vegetables, served with jasmine rice and pita bread. So now we're going to prepare our famous blackened tilapia and grits, our fish and grits on the menu. And our meal will be complete. Let me tell you about our infused heat burgers. When we kick the spice up just a little bit with our infused sauce. We start off with 80-20 USDA ground chuck ham patty burgers, nice half a pound of burgers, and we're going to grill it to perfection. After I flip the burger, we add the sauce and let it cook on into the meat mix a little bit. cheese to this burger. Spice it up a bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, you need to be ordering right now. It's just that simple, and it's very easy. All you need to do is call 301-449-9000. You can schedule in a very succinct manner a reservation at this lovely restaurant. You can also order your food and carry it out. That's a great opportunity, and it's great food indeed. 6339 Allentown Road, Temple Hills, Maryland, 20748. You know what I'm saying. Infuse. Infuse.com. Check it out.
I know you're watching, so pay attention. You hate my freedom, my religion, and my country. You hate me for speaking my mind. You try to control me with violence and intimidation. You think you can muzzle me with fear? Don't ever confuse me for my politicians or my media. I am an American, free-born and free-bred, and I will call you out for who you are. An Islamic extremist who would kill me for my beliefs. You don't intimidate me. My freedom is more powerful than anything you can possibly do, and I will never, never surrender my rights to your terror. I will say what I think, worship according to my beliefs, and raise my children how I see fit. And I defend it all with the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. I cower to no one, because I am the National Rifle Association of America, and I am freedom's safest place.
Right swipe. It's gonna be a right swipe. This man just shaved his chest hair into a heart. Oh, you stole mine. Right swipe.
Right swipe. Right swipe.
That kind of looks like my sister.
It does.
But I know she's not.
He's cuddling a kitten.
Oh my God, I want to eat their faces.
She's hot.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh.
That's a lollipop.
Oh, that is not a lollipop.
Left swipe.
Left swipe.
This must be some kind of joke. If you think you're my type, and I'm my type. Hope you're gone in a cloud of smoke. I just left swipe. Bye-bye. I just left swipe.
Left swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left.
Yeah.
You gotta swipe it
Left
left.
swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left. This is stuff I don't like, so I gotta
Left swipe that.
Look at you with your shirt off, flexing. You're buff, but you puff, hashtag perplexing. Yeah, you work out, you're in shape, okay. I like the six-pack abs, not the six-packs a day.
Came across a photo of this green-eyed hottie. Whole nine, pretty face, tight waist, nice body. But I just couldn't overlook one small fact. She smokes like an old man at a racetrack.
This must be some kind of joke. If you think you're my type, and I'm my type. Hope you're gone in a cloud of smoke. I just left swipe, bye-bye. I just left swipe.
Left swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left.
Yeah.
You gotta swipe it
Left
left.
swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left. This is stuff I don't like, so I gotta
Left swipe that.
Mr. World Traveler, your trips look expensive. Sitting on a mountaintop looking all pensive. I was about to ask, how's the air up there? But based on this pic, I guess you don't really care.
Lots of chicks in the pic, not sure which one's you. Them cigarettes are taking y'all from 10s to 2s. And one thing's true about your whole crew. None of you cigarella's gonna be my boo.
Smoking with a tiger?
Left swipe that.
While you're on a hang glider?
Left swipe that. Smoking while acting healthy. Left swipe that.
Smoking all stealthy?
Left swipe that. Smoking with a duck face. Left swipe that.
At a monster truck race?
Left swipe that. Smoking at the prom. Left swipe that.
Even in a photo bomb?
He don't care. Left swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left.
Yeah.
You gotta swipe it
Left
left.
swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left. This is stuff I don't like, so I gotta
Left swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left.
Yeah. Hashtag.
I'll never remember you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. Tonight, the Taxman Cometh. Any day now, and we're already getting notices that churches are preparing the donation forms. Yeah. People are already calling their employers to get their W-2s and their 1099s together, and they're hurrying about, and they want to go out and they want to get their taxes done right now. They need the money right now. This is the first thing I'm going to tell you about taxes. It is a scam as big as casinos. I know you don't want to hear that, but the truth of the matter is, it is a casino. Simply put, ladies and gentlemen, there are individuals who have made it pertinently clear that if you believe that you're going to get a refund back, that refund will always be smaller than the amount of money you put in the house. This is... I try to explain that to people every single year. And this is how I do it. Let me get an envelope here. This is your envelope. Here we go. Priority mail, express it. You know. Every time you get paid, let's see here. Just a minute here. What's the keys? Oh, yeah. Okay, good. All right, got keys there. Okay, here we go. We got money. Here we go. Every time you get paid, okay, a portion of that gets extracted and put in this bag or this envelope and is sent to your local government. Okay? Expressed. You know how it's expressed? Because it's taken directly out of your payroll. For those who have Social Security, they can even take the taxes out of your Social Security. I know I'm getting some amens about that one. And even with OPM. Now, it is quick, fast, in a hurry, and most of you all don't whine and complain because you presume that it's going to be taken from you anyway. You have been conditioned from the time that your parents came home and you heard them talk about money, you heard them talk about taxes. They have conditioned you to think that your money is supposed to go in here and directly to the government, and so that you'll never see it again. You have been conditioned to do so. And it's okay. What's not okay is for you to believe that the government that you express mail your money to, right out of your paycheck, is going to express mail it back to you. They don't want to give you your money back. That's the casino mentality. We expect for you to come in and eat at the $5 steak house here that we have. We expect for you to spend money on drinks. We expect for you to have a good time. But gosh darn it, you're going to spend probably about 20 to 30 hours collecting data, putting it together, and either getting someone to spend another 2 hours preparing it for you, or you doing it yourself. And some of you all have the most severely 1040 tax returns. And so it takes a lot of time to put all that stuff together. And then once you've completed it, you send it off electronically. And your expectation is that you got to get your money back the next day. That's not going to happen. In fact, the Internal Revenue Service tells you that you will not get your refund back normally for at least 3 to 4 weeks. That's money out the door. And so what you think is, how do I get my money that I lent to the government and they didn't give it all back to me? They gave me just a small portion of it back. How do I get that money more quickly? Well, what I'll do is I'll go into some tax preparation place and they'll give me my money right then and there on the spot. Man, that is a serious racket. And people keep asking me, Ken, how come you don't do taxes for free? I mean, you only do it for free. How come you don't get paid for it? I don't want that burden, first and foremost. I really don't. But secondly, it's a ripoff. You can do your taxes yourself, man. But you go into a place where they're going to charge you for doing your tax. And now they've worked it out. They worked it real smart. You all complained about the fact that they were charging you a lot of money. So they've worked it out in a fashion with the Internal Revenue Service to maintain the ability for accountants to get paid for doing your taxes, when you could do it yourself for free. And these guys say, well, we're not going to charge you a whole lot for your federal return. And in fact, some of us will do it absolutely free for you. But here's the kicker. We'll charge you $200 for your state tax return. And you're like, well, gosh, that's a bargain. No, that's a ripoff. Because you can do your taxes yourself. Secondly, for all of you elderly people out there, please find people who are willing to find the biggest tax return for you in terms of a refund. Please work on that. You know how I know that people don't work real hard for you? Did you know that there are 21 states and the District of Columbia that provide tax refunds for you paying for your rent? It is a property tax circuit breaker. Literally. The top 15 states with the highest taxes on the poor. First, let's go over that real quick. Number 15 is Tennessee. Number 14 is New Jersey. Number 13, Georgia. Number 12, South Dakota. Number 11, Mary Brockman's land, Ohio. Number 10, Arkansas. 9, Rhode Island. 8, Indiana. 7, Pennsylvania. 6, Texas. 5, Arizona. 4, Hawaii. 3, Florida. 2, Illinois. The number 1 state with the highest taxes on the poor, Washington. So, ladies and gentlemen, you better find someone who's willing to find these nuggets that I will be talking to you about over the next, I'll do it a little bit tonight and over the next few weeks. Find people who want to help you get a bigger tax refund. Now, in 2014, 17 states and D.C. offered property tax circuit breaker programs that target tax reductions to low-income families who also owe significant property taxes relative to their incomes. And then another 13 states provide property tax credits to some low-income families, however. The credits of those states are only based on income. These credits cut off eligibility based on income, but do not include a provision requiring property taxes to exceed a set percentage rate. I can tell you for a fact, there are lots of people in the District of Columbia that get their taxes done, and they are elderly, and they're paying for rent, and no one goes to the area in Section U of the tax return for the District of Columbia that deals with getting your property tax credit. There is a section in there that deals with property tax credit, meaning you could receive up to $600 for someone just making certain that you paid rent, as long as the government didn't help you with that rent. You know, if you get in Section 8, this ain't for you. But you're paying full market share rate rent, and you're low income. You should be getting that credit, which can normally work out in terms of a refund for you. Now, if your state isn't one of the states that does it, you can always check. I always tell you, check with your local state office to find out if there's such a credit for you. In the District of Columbia, it's good to be poor because they make you wealthy with the taxes. So, first and foremost, Ken, what do I need to be prepared? You know, I think I'm going to do this for the next 4 weeks so that you're going to get the... I've never done this on my show before. And Mary would tell you that. Mary's been listening to my show for over 5 years. I've never done this on my show before. I've talked a little bit about taxes or whatever, but I've never done it. And I tell you what, the next 4 weeks I'm going to show you how to get big refunds. It's not a game. And I'm not going to lie to you. It's not a game. I'm not going to lie to you. Not everyone's going to be able to do it. That's the first thing you have to realize. It's casinos, you know, and not everybody's going to be able to count the cards. But I will tell you this. We're going to show you how to get your taxes done and get them done for free. And some of you all have been paying people $200, $300, some $500 to get their taxes done. I'm going to show you how you can get your taxes done for free. Now, I'm going to upset a lot of apple carts and a lot of people from H&R Block and Jackson Hewitt and a few other of the rinky-dink places that are looking forward to you coming in over the next few weeks and allowing them to take your wealth. A lot of them are going to be upset with me, but you know what? I hope they will be. First and foremost, and I'm going to put this in the chat roll for those who want to, and I know I'm all over the place at this point, but I get excited about taxes. I want to tell you about the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. Now, you might be saying, well, Ken, what's that? I'm glad you asked. The Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program offers free tax help to people who generally make $54,000 or less. Here it is. I'm going to put it in the chat roll so that those who are listening at theexceptionalconservativeShow.com can get this. Exactly, Mary. That's what I'm talking about. AARP is one of the groups that does it. And I'm going to say this out loud, and y'all should send this to AMAC. AMAC, there are conservative tax preparers like me out there who would love your representation this time of the year. ARRP makes a killing off of these old people. What? Why? You want to know why? Because they get them to sign up for AARP and get them to sign on to other programs. And the next thing you know, they're paying money for health insurance coverage. And then after that, they're paying for long-term care coverage and a few other. It's a racket for AARP. They know it. They're not really interested in doing people's taxes for free. Hey, this is a spinoff. Look what I can do after I've done your taxes for free. Look, lady. Yeah, you get 5% off a cup of coffee at Joe's. God, come on, throw it up. Next thing you know, they're on to different programs for these people. So AMAC, AMAC. My wife is a member. I'm a member of AMAC. Why don't you fund organizations like that? Never mind. But y'all should tell AMAC that they need to get into this. It would really help them out. And you can go to individuals. Free tax return preparation for you by volunteers at irs.gov. Now, if you make $54,000 or less, persons with disabilities, the elderly, and limited English-speaking taxpayers who need assistance in preparing their own tax returns, get their taxes done for free. IRS certified volunteers. Do you know that? I don't know if I should. This is a industry, but let me just be honest with you. Those individuals, and Mary will tell you this, those individuals who are being trained by the Internal Revenue Service probably have a greater degree of proficiency in doing tax returns than those who are being trained by everybody else. I'm just telling you. Yes, we all have to meet certain standards, but there's a certain expectation when you're trained by the Internal Revenue Service. You have to go through a little more of the hoops and bells and whistles or whatever. So I'm just saying. Now, in addition to the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, the Tax Counseling for the Elderly, TCE program, offers free tax help for all taxpayers, particularly those who are 60 years of age or older, specializing in questions about pensions and retirement-related issues unique to seniors. Now, I do both VITA and the TCE. I do all of that at my center in Washington, D.C., and I do all those services for free, and I do not have the $54,000 income limit. It's for any client of the organization that I work with. They can all come in and get their taxes done for free, and I actually had a client who was slightly more than that 54,000, who was vehemently, she was just angry because she couldn't find anyone who she could trust to do her taxes. She comes to me, she gets the taxes done. It works out well because later on it works for her to get a home. And so organizations like the one that I work for in Washington, D.C., that provide financial counseling and money management assistance and help individuals in terms of buying homes and getting their homes repaired through specialized government programs, have this great benefit now of being able to use a program like VITA or TCE to actually bring in that audience that can best trust the service being rendered and best receive service. All right, so there you go. Now, there is a telephone number I want you to call, and Mary, if you want to give it out to people, you can, have a way you wish. But, ladies and gentlemen, Mary has AMAC too, honey. Peaches, you and she are the same ballpark. Exactly, Mary. You're exactly right. You don't have to have AARP. You don't have to be a member of AARP to get your taxes done through AARP for free. Let me make that clear, because a lot of people are going to take note. You're right, Mary. But what I'm saying is that AARP uses it as a great gateway tool to get them into other programs. That's all I'm saying about that. That's why I'm saying AMAC should just do the very same thing. I'm just saying. Now, you can go to a VITA or TCE site near you and call 1-800-906-9887. 1-800-906-9887. By doing that, you can schedule your own appointment. Ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and schedule your appointment now. It just makes sense. Okay. Now, what are some of the things you need to bring with you? Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the big problems. And a lot of people get really testy about this, but the truth of the matter is there are so many rules and regulations that individual providers of the service have to go through. Okay. And as they're studying and becoming certified, and I've been doing it since I was 18 years old, and I'm now 19. There's certain rules and regulations that you have to follow, certain standards that you have to meet, and they're normally the most excellent in the industry standards. So what the individual who has to prepare your tax return needs is proof that you are who you say you are, you have earned what you said that you earned, you have provided all proofs of insurances, and that you are certainly eligible to receive the refund that you are stating that you're eligible to receive. So, these are some of the things that you're going to need. Your photo ID. Now, for all the black people who tell me that shouldn't need a photo ID for the privilege of voting, well, you need photo ID to get your taxes done. How do you not get your taxes done? And let me put a pin there. Can I put a pin there for just a second? Ladies and gentlemen, elderly persons, okay, who say, well, I don't file my taxes no more because I when you get age 65, you don't have to file taxes no more. That is a lie from the pit of hell. People are shocked. And you know what? It's amazing the number of people who are shocked that they should be getting a refund and they're 70 years old. They just, if I'd known, I would have done this 5 years ago. Yes. You should always check to see if you're eligible for a refund, no matter what your age is. And that's why you should learn how to do your taxes yourself. You're going to need your Social Security cards for you, your spouse, and your dependents. Now, you may have been going to somebody for 5 or 6 years, and you know they're used to you and you're used to them. Okay, that's great, but guess what? There's some new rules in place, and you never know. At least as a preparer, you never know who's going to come to you and ask you to prepare their tax returns. Some people have sat down with me and said, yes, I have dependents. And she's 50, and I'm not going to put it past you, but you're 50, so you have dependents. Yes. And you taking care of them all year long. Yes. And you provided for more than 50% of their financial needs. Yes. And they live with you at home. Not exactly. Okay, so where do they live? They are in prison. So your 3 boys are in prison, but you want to use them as a deduction. Yes, I do. Can't do that. I need to see the Social Security cards of those people who are in your household. All right? So that's you, your spouse, and your dependents. You should also have an individual taxpayer identification number assigned to you. As a if you can't present the Social Security number, you should have an individual taxpayer identification number as a substitute. If you are of a foreign status, you definitely should have an individual taxpayer identification number. Take it with you. The birth dates for you, your spouse, and dependents. Listen, I do my family's taxes every year, and I still got to ask my wife when she's born. It's just a mental block. I don't know why, but it is. So make certain that you have the birth dates of your children and yourself and your spouse written down. And then make certain that you have your W-2. Don't be this foolish as someone once was with me. I scheduled an appointment for you to do my taxes. I thought that you already had the W-2s. What? What? No, they don't mail it to me because you scheduled an appointment with me. You, my friend, must bring the W-2. If you went to the casino and you won $1,000, you have to bring the W-2G in. Yes, because I'm going to ask you if you made some money. And if you tell me that you made some money, I want to see where you made the money. And if you said that you had losses, I need to see the losses. So the W-2G. And then for retirees, the 1099-R or the 1099 SSA. Now, right about here, you can get in contact with the Office of Personnel Management, OPM. If you think that you're not going to get your thing in a timely manner, I recommend highly that you pick up the phone and you call the Office of Personnel Management. You can do that by calling 1-888-767-6738. I'm going to put that in the chat roll for people who are following along at home. And you're learning a lot today. Yeah. Here you go. This is the number for... We're going to put the OPM thing in there just so everyone knows where I'm getting this number from. It is definitely from the Office of Personnel Management. And we put that right in there. Okay. So, how do I get a copy of my 1099-R? Go to the Office of Personnel Management, opm.gov. Do it now. If you think it's going to get lost in the snowstorms to come, do it now. Get it on out of the way. Now, I'm going to run out of time here. We'll pick this up. And we won't be able to pick it up tonight, will we? Oh my God, there's some big tax write-offs. We will be talking about this. If it was officially very helpful to you, you can always let me know, and we can try to do it tomorrow night. We'll see, whatever. Maybe we'll do it next Wednesday night because I want to give you all enough time to get everyone around the radio and get prepared to get your tax returns done. Or we'll do it on a night that I can just stretch right through. But the bottom line is you have to plan ahead to get your tax returns done. When we come back in the second half of our program, we will be talking in fact, we will be releasing the KRAKEN himself, none other than the great Dr. Ralph. Well, he's not a doctor yet, but we need to push him to do that. Ralph CHITTAMS Sr. from the DC GOP. We will release the KRAKEN, and then without shadow of a doubt, a woman who is readily available to take center stage, none other than Shannon Wright from Be More. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I apologize for the disappointment. I didn't get to everything that I wanted to. There's just so much in terms of tax preparation. I may do it tomorrow night, right before the professor comes on. We'll see. But if this was good to you and this is interesting to you, we'll do it again tomorrow night. Thank you so much. God bless you. Hang in there for more of the best of the most influential urban conservative talk show to be heard on stations like High Plains Talk, Rebooting Liberty, SHR Media, The Voice of Liberty, Blueberry, Stitcher, and so many others. Thank you so much. God bless you. We'll be right back.
Telling me I shouldn't own guns because young black men are more likely to die from gun violence is asinine and insulting. You either think I'm too stupid to know that a vast majority of those deaths are drug and gang related, or you're a racist who thinks simply being black and having a gun makes me more prone to violence. This race baiting rhetoric is a disgusting attempt to take advantage of certain sensitivities. Yes, the inner city's young black men kill each other at an embarrassingly high rate. But instead of addressing the real issue, anti-gun politicians in the mainstream media would rather exploit the symptoms because there's no money in the cure. The vast majority of African Americans are good law-abiding people, and many of them own guns. Yet the media keeps trying to tell me that the majority of black people are anti-gun. So I guess that poll conducted by the Pew Research Center that found that 54% of black people believe guns protect you from being a crime victim was just the Illuminati. The image of black gun ownership has been hijacked and vilified by an anti-gun mainstream media, the same way they vilified the Cubans, the Italians, the Irish, and the Mexicans. They project and glorify this D-boy gangbanging image as if African Americans are nothing more than that. This creates an insidious form of bigotry and stereotyping that only further divides this country along racial lines. Come to think of it, it's borderline genius. By blaming the gun, the corrupt media can advance their agenda and look like they give a damn about the inner city, then cue up racial opportunists like Al Sharpton who ignore the systemic degradation of the black family, drugs dumped into the community, an education system you couldn't pay the rest of America to put their kids in, and government programs like welfare that incentivize joblessness, further perpetuating generations of poverty. Instead, he and his dark and lovely perm will continue pointing the finger at the whites will point the finger back at him, and the moderator will keep asking racially inflammatory questions, and the mainstream media sits back and rakes in the dough with their modern-day minstrel show they call journalism. Think about it. The same liberal mainstream media that claims to want to end gun violence in the inner city is the same liberal-minded Hollywood production companies and major record labels that glorify and perpetuate the drug-dealing, gang-banging black man with a gun stereotype. If we really want to solve these problems, we have to understand that it will involve changing generations, not simply election cycle statistics. It will be uncomfortable. It'll challenge our current idea of meritocracy. We must be willing to get rid of our egos. We'll have to embrace personal accountability. We'll have to sacrifice political correctness for honest debate. If we're not ready to do any of these things, nothing will change other than the bank accounts of the mainstream media elites, and we'll watch this country implode on itself because it was easier to blame the gun instead of putting in hard work to address the real issue.
Colian Noor, thank you. We'll be back. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you back to the second half of the Exceptional Conservative Show, live from the nation's capital. We are certainly not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation, first to the Republican and then to the Democrat. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what we do at the very beginnings of our halves on this particular show. We basically make certain that proper reverence and respect is given to the U.S., United States of America, our military, and so on. And so we play the Pledge of Allegiance. We pledge it. And we do this not in boast, but in encouragement, that people respect and honor with decency what our men and women fight for overseas. We want to recite to you tonight the Pledge of Allegiance. K3 kids, as we take off our hats, put our hands over our heart.
Your heart. Face your parents. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
That's what we're talking about, baby. That's the way you train them. Train them in their youth so they will not depart from it in their future. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what we do on Wednesday night at 10 p.m. This man is one of the great leaders. Your children will be reading about him someday as being one of the gentlemen who helped turn urban America around. Yes, by speaking the truth and making people personally accountable for it. None other than Pastor Ralph Chittam Sr., who is also Vice Chairman of the DC GOP. All right.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. It is a great honor and privilege to have you on the air with us tonight on Sackheads Radio Night. How goes it, sir?
I am well. How are you, Mr. Exceptional?
I am extremely well tonight. Listen, I just want to let you know that this week the socialists have given me the giggles. And as we release the KRAKEN tonight, I'm not going to get to the crying thing just yet, but, sir, how incompetent, sir, is this city's administration when it deals with crime?
How incompetent? The meter hasn't been built that measures their incompetence. That's how incompetent they are. I mean, you're going to hold a press conference talking about robbery and crime, and less than 100 feet away from the mayor and the chief of police, the crooks break into the car of a news crew, and then the spokesman for the police department has the temerity to say, oh, well, they shouldn't have left valuables in the car where people could see them. Excuse me? You can't make this stuff up.
Now, we were told earlier last year that we were supposed to carry a baseball bat with us to prevent crime. Did these media people carry a baseball bat? Because that way I can see where they would be at fault.
No, I mean, it's just absolutely stupid. And for a spokesman from the Metropolitan Police Department to say something that's stupid was just as stupid as what Chief Lanier had to say regarding the situation involving your daughter. I mean, you have law-abiding citizens where they're supposed to be, doing what they're supposed to do, abiding by the law, then she's going to open up her stupid mouth and say that she was in the wrong place at the right time. Shut up. I can't take it anymore. I can't.
You know, and people, they call us haters, right? Right, Ralph? They call us haters because we point stuff out like this. But for the whole world to see today that the mayor and the police chief got robbed right in their faces, okay? And it was ABC's fault. It was the media's fault.
And folks need to understand that when the mayor and the chief of police are out in public, they are not out by themselves. They each have a crew of cops who accompany them. So you mean to tell me that in the presence of a crew of cops there to protect the mayor of the District of Columbia and accompany the chief of police, that somebody can get robbed in that environment and the rest of them are supposed to somehow feel safe?
Exactly.
My answer to all of that is shut up and give me my gun. I will protect myself.
There you go.
And my family.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Was that not Barney Fife-them today?
And then don't get me you really don't want me to get me started on Bozo and his press conference about gun control. So that made absolutely
before you go there, before you go there, because a lot of people think that we're just making this stuff up, okay? And I want to let everyone know that today in Washington, D.C., in the front of the mayor of the District of Columbia, in the front of in the front of the chief of police, that literally, there was a robbery. Now,
like, they broke into the car of a news crew. They smashed the window, got into the car, rummaged through the car, took equipment and other valuables out of the car, and got away clean.
That is simply amazing. And then they had the audacity to blame the media person for being involved, for not locking stuff up, for holding it out.
Right. You shouldn't have left your stuff out where people could see it. It's your fault that you got robbed. It's like, I mean, you really can't make this stuff up.
It is simply amazing. And Mayor Muriel Bowser says, I am here at Eastern Market, D.C. to announce the creation of the Robbery Intervention Task Force. Safer, stronger, D.C. How safe, how strong, sir?
Well, clearly it's not safe. There's no question about that. I mean, I think the last time I was on your show, I made the joke, that basically saying, if you could avoid to get murdered, D.C. is a pretty good place to live. Well, hell, you can't even say that now.
You can't.
They're robbing people in front of the mayor and the chief of police.
And the chief of police and the mayor blame you. We're talking tonight. People, we're not making it up. It's true.
Just go to the internet and just look it up for yourself. I know it sounds like we're having fun and we're just, bashing our liberal Democrats here in D.C. because it's fun to do. But no, everything that we have just said is verifiably true. Look it up for yourself.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, that was probably the... If you are a comedian tonight, you got your worth. You really did. All you got to do is say Mayor Muriel Bowser and Kathy Lanier, and that's it. That's all you got to do. The jokes will take care of themselves. All right.
It's sad. It really is sad.
Yeah, but it speaks to, and in fact, this weekend, the Anacostia Coordinating Council will be hosting a faith-based meeting, bringing faith leaders together to talk about the crime issue and how to deal with it. And apparently this week there was a huge throwdown between Mayor Muriel Bowser and Judiciary Chairman McDuffie. And McDuffie is blaming Lanier and Muriel Bowser for the rise in crime. And Muriel Bowser and others are saying that they're willing to work with this social worker gimmick as a way of reducing crime. What's going on, sir?
Typical liberal, throw money at the problem and we can solve it this time, because the last 100 times you tried the same tactic, it didn't work.
Yeah.
That's it in a nutshell. Let's throw even more money at the problem and we'll fix it this time. But didn't you try that the last 100 times? Yeah, but this time it's going to work. Okay.
Well, she said in her letter that she only had 131 days since they pumped out $23 million into the D.C. economy. So what do you expect? $23 million, 131 days. You really expect there to be change? Give us some time, right?
Well, that's why they raised tickets to $1,000. They need even more money.
Idiots. See, it's, what's sad is when that word comes off the tip of the tongues of the most liberal people in Washington, D.C. You're idiots.
There are some Democrats who are turning on them over that $1,000 ticket proposal.
You ain't lying. We're talking with Ralph Chittam Sr. He is a pastor and also D.C. vice chairman. speaking into your life. D.C. Vice Chairman of the GOP. Sir, I hope that you are going to school, at least going back to school to take art and theater, because we got a whole lot of that on Tuesday night, or at least Tuesday afternoon, when the President of the United States was hosting individuals in his facility there at the White House, who were involved in the various shootings around the country. He marshaled out he vetted them, marshaled out all the Democrats and socialists amongst them, and then he wept because so many children are dying from all of this gun violence. Sir, why won't you go back to school to learn how to cry like Obama cries?
Because I only cry when I'm seriously crying, and I don't cry on command the same way Bill Clinton fake cried at the funeral of Ron Brown. See, I'm going to go back and throw it all up.
There you go. See, that was back in the day, man.
Right. Bill Clinton walking through the graveyard, laughing and chuckling and having a good time. And then he sees the cameras, and then he starts fake crying like Obama did the other day at the podium over a couple of dozen dead kids in Connecticut. But, since 1973, there have been at least 15 million black children here in the United States murdered in abortion clinics. And he ain't never shed a tear over that.
Not a single one. Not a single one.
Almost 3,000 people killed in Chicago. He ain't shed a tear over that. He's trying to keep his boy in the mayor's office. So, Obama, you can keep your fake tears. I don't care. You're full of it.
More gun control. That's all we can expect. I want to go back to you regarding a D.C. matter, because Muriel Bowser once served on the Washington Metropolitan Board of Transportation, whatever it is, for Greater Washington, and they have people from Virginia and Maryland on it, to oversee Metro. Today, half of a Metro train arrived at the Navy Yard.
I'm laughing at the incompetence of
it. Half of the train arrived about 2 minutes ahead of the other one. And they remain 2 feet apart. Sir, what is up with DC today? What is up?
First of all, here's what people need to understand. What happened today is supposed to be impossible. It's supposed to be physically impossible for train cars to uncouple themselves. So if the train cars uncoupled themselves, the next question has to be, how did it happen? Here's the question that everybody needs to ask, and nobody is asking. Did somebody hack into the computer system and uncouple those train cars?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Because if that's what happened, now you have a serious terror threat problem. Because that means that hackers, terrorists, can have access to the metro system and can uncouple cars, speed up trains, and do whatever they want, take over the system, and anybody riding in those trains is nothing more than a sardine in a can.
Exactly. Very true.
So they need to answer some questions. I can tell you for a fact, I am never, ever getting in another metro car.
At least one not going to the Navy Yard. But of all places, for that to happen, just a few years ago at the Navy Yard, 13 people were killed in a terrorist attack. And today we're visited with half a train coming in and the other half coming behind it. And
that miraculously uncoupled itself.
Now,
no.
Could it be, however, that conditions with Metro are so deplorable that is a possibility? I mean, we had the fire last year, and I believe a woman died in that particular fire, and Muriel Bowser was called on the carpet for her role, or the lack of the role of the D.C. Council, involved in the safety. Metro has been taken over by the federal government, and since Metro has been taken over by the federal government, half a train starts coming into Navy Yard. Is this a sign that just too much government involvement in all of this?
Show me anything that Obama's government has put its hands on that functions properly, and I will buy you the biggest steak at the Capitol Grill.
So I know that ain't happening. Oh my God. I tell you, it is so great to have you on, Ralph. You definitely released the Krakens tonight. But I want to talk with you about one other thing. And this is, in a sense, how can you be serious with all of this comedy going on in D.C. government? You just...
Well, no, what you do, honestly, we are being completely serious in this conversation. The problem is the conversation is so ridiculous that it elicits spontaneous laughter because these people are just that stupid.
They really are. They really are. It's scary that
we are having a serious, fact-filled discussion. Everything we are saying is verifiable by multiple reliable news sources. We're not talking about The Onion. We're not talking about satire.com. We're talking verifiable news sources. We are having a factual conversation that is so ridiculous that anybody listening has to laugh.
You got to laugh. This is DC government, people. I know you're racing to live here. I'm just telling you. This is the way it is. But last night while we were on the air and Janice Hall and I were watching this, we didn't speak on it because we didn't know exactly what happened. But of course, everyone was talking about the 5.1 Richter scale earthquake in North Korea. We had our suspicions. But this morning we learned that they actually were testing a nuclear weapon. China may have induced it, encouraged them to do it. But remember, North Korea is supposed to be a subtle. Let's just say we shouldn't be worried the way George Bush said we should be worried about them being the triumph of evil. We shouldn't be that worried about North Korea. Should we be worried about North Korea or their ability to sell nuclear weapons to terrorists?
Honestly, I'm not that concerned about North Korea simply because the North Koreans have shown themselves over the year to have a penchant for hyperbole.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Remember, these are the same people that claim to have landed a man on the sun.
But we have proof. We have proof of that, though.
The North Koreans have a history of puffery.
Yeah.
They have, it's just as part of now I'm talking about the leadership. I'm not talking about the people now. I'm talking about the leadership. They seem to have an inferiority complex which mandates that they make up stories to make themselves appear to be greater than they are. Mm-hmm. I do not believe for a second that the North Koreans actually detonated a hydrogen bomb.
Nah. I don't believe it was hydrogen. It probably wasn't nuclear, but it definitely wasn't a hydrogen. I don't believe that they're that advanced per se. But it does give you the message, however, that, and they normally do this when it gets cold because they run out of food. And they do it on an annual basis. But this is serious in the fact that they have the technology, they have the resources, which means that they can exchange those resources with individuals who have tyrannical desire, ISIS, and so on.
Honestly, the biggest problem is that any kid with a computer with access to minimal nuclear reactor materials can make a dirty bomb that can kill everybody within a city block. Mm-hmm. Now, people want to be freaked out about something, be freaked out about that.
Yeah.
Because we're getting all these people. We have domestic terrorists. We have terrorists that are being imported in by the Obama administration. And anybody with an intent can build a dirty bomb with minimal intelligence that can kill everybody in a square block.
Exactly.
So we have other fish, more important fish to worry about than Panda Face over in North Korea.
You know his movie's coming out pretty soon.
I love those movies. I'm going to see it. I'm serious. I love Kung Fu Panda.
Kung Fu. I am telling you, Kung Fu Panda. I wish I had Sean from Sackheads Radio on so he could say at this time period, Harold. But a more serious note here. I don't know how serious it is, and you can tell me because you are big kahuna in the GOP. You're getting urban conservatives to run for offices around the country. Congratulations to you, sir, in making that happen. Because you're not like the Republicans from the GOP on 2nd Street on Capitol Hill. But today they put together a repeal vote of Obamacare, and it passed in both the House and the Senate. Does that mean anything, sir?
Oh, absolutely. It means everything. And they voted to defund Planned Parenthood. They did two things.
Okay.
Republicans like me have been begging and banging and hollering and screaming and pleading for Republicans on the Hill to do just these sorts of things. These aren't symbolic votes. These are important votes because now we have not just Democrats on record. Now we have rhino Republicans on record, and Obama is going to veto it. Fine. I don't care. Let him veto it. But by voting these two pieces of legislation out of Congress and putting it on the president's desk, you have now created issues that can be used in the next campaign to hang around somebody's neck. That, oh, so you think killing babies is okay? Got it. You think that taking people's doctors away from them and increasing their premiums fivefold is okay? Let's see what your constituents think when we primary you. And that goes for Democrats and rhinos. So even though it's going to get vetoed, no, I don't think it was a waste of time. I have been begging for them to do these sorts of things just to get people on record.
Now, is it also political sensibilities? Because you and I both are looking at polling after January 1 when the election heat really gets going. All that other stuff beforehand was just entertainment. But you have Donald Trump, except in Iowa, up by double digits. And in Iowa, he is slightly behind Ted Cruz. And I do mean slightly, like maybe about 4 or 5 percentage points of the people that they polled. Is it these guys are looking at the tea leaves and saying that if we don't actually stand up and say that we're conservative and mean it, then we're going to be voted out of office?
No, the guys in office don't care because they think they have the power of the incumbency. I mean, I forget the guy's name, but there's a junior senator who just came out, Republican junior senator who just came out and endorsed Bernie Sanders for president. You've got a whole freaking football team of Republicans running for president, and you're the junior Republican senator, and you're going to endorse a Democrat? If he doesn't get primary, everybody in that state
Thank
to
you.
have their voter registration card revoked.
Which may be part of the actual executive order for the guns under the Obama administration. Might as well go with that. But I want to ask you about that real quickly because we're going to run out of time. Sincerely, his executive order puts at risk HIPAA.
Thank you.
Because
Thank you.
Yeah, because HIPAA can be. This is where the GOP need to get some kahunas and strike out the executive order, because your doctor can squeal to the FBI and they will take away your guns. Your comment, sir.
But here's another issue that people need to think about. What Obama has done with this is he has set up the precedent where the President of the United States can unilaterally decide a certain medical condition rises to the level of national security, and by a pen stroke, create a HIPAA exemption for that. So that means, now, okay, if you're mentally ill, and not even mentally ill, but you're just going through a rough patch and you need some counseling, and your doctor reports you, they can come get your guns. Okay, what's the next logical step? That you shouldn't even be in a home where guns are present. So for the sake of argument, I go to my counselor, and I'm going through a rough time, and the counselor reports me to the gun registry. They do a cross-check. They find out my wife legally owns firearms. Oh, well, he's crazy. There shouldn't be any guns in the house. Now they're going to come into the house and take my wife's guns simply because I'm having a rough stretch. And people think that we're crazy. No. Once you set a precedent, people need to understand that the slope goes one way, down. And we are looking at a complete erasing of our liberties and rights in this country, started by a dictatorial, Hitler-esque president.
There you go. Well said. And the other thing that people don't realize is that only people in power get to choose your choices. And quite frankly, it was the gay community back in 1972 that forced the voting out of the ICD-9 and ICD-10s of homosexuality as a mental illness. There will be diseases of choice and certain power and influences that go along with that, along with such things as pedophilia. And we need to be very, very careful. And I think we should be calling our local congressman and senator when they get back in office to make certain that the HIPAA laws remain the HIPAA laws, and the repeal of Obamacare, which includes the ACA provision that allows doctors to report you to the Federal Bureau of Investigation and to other agencies of the federal government when there is a concerned risk, thus superseding the powers of the state. That stuff needs to be eradicated and overturned as quickly as possible. And there.
Don't forget, they're also using the Social Security Administration, in addition to the Veterans Administration, to take away people's Second Amendment rights.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is being done, without any sort of constitutional backing whatsoever. And back in 2007, Obama made this big old speech when he was running for president, saying that the problem with the country is George Bush using executive actions to extort more power to the executive branch, and if I'm elected president, I will not do those such things. And here he is, not only doing it, but he's exceeding what George Bush ever tried to do.
You know what? It was funny, and I know you got to go, but the underground professor, Dr. Michael Jones, who will have Chris Peranto on his program on Friday Eve, made it very clear in his last show that he doesn't believe that we're federated. We're not even a republic, and we certainly aren't constitutional. Is there hope in the next election here?
Our last hope may be this next election. And people better vote, and they better vote wisely. Because honestly, this next election might just be it.
Yeah. How can people get with you, especially in conservative communities, about winning the next elections? How can people get in contact with you, sir?
Social media, Facebook, Twitter, RJCHITTAMSSR, Ralph J. Jim Sr. And also, you can drop me an email at ralph.chittams@dcgop.com. And if you'll just allow me to make a short plug, tomorrow morning I am going to be the sacrificial lamb, or so they think, on Roland Martin's TV One show, and we're going to be discussing Obozo's gun control proposals.
Oh.
So if you're not doing anything tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., try to find Try to find me on TV1 as I try to hold down the conservative side against the liberals.
Just keep pointing out HIPAA, man. That's all you got. That's all you got.
And here's another point they need to remember. You know, they talk about the gun show loopholes. I've been to many a gun show, and I can tell you, I ain't never seen Pookie or Ray Ray at a gun show.
Never. Never. And the other thing, tell Roland Martin and his ilk that not to uphold Obama and the online ordering of tasers and guns. You cannot get those things. You cannot get them. They have to be delivered to, in the District of Columbia, they have to be delivered to the police precinct in order for you to pick it up and thus qualify. You can without a background check, you can't get those things.
No, you cannot order a gun online. If you order a gun online, it has to be delivered to a federal dealer.
Yep.
Which requires a background check and ID. Obama flat out lied.
He lied. And you know what? Because I asked Pookie to go to the... I'm sorry. Thank you for coming on the... My good friend, Ralph Chittams. You hold the fort down on Roland Martin tomorrow, sir.
All right. God bless you.
God bless. Take care. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Ralph Chittams. And when we come back, these are the last commercials of the night. We're honored by the imminent one. How? Sackhead Sean is in our chat roll. We are just so blatantly honored this evening. Good show, sir. Good show. We are glad to know that Sackheads Radio will be back on the air this evening at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, and that's 7 p.m. on the left coast. We'll be back. HIPAA, HIPAA.
I know you're watching, so pay attention. You hate my freedom, my religion, and my country. You hate me for speaking my mind. You try to control me with violence and intimidation. You think you can muzzle me with fear? Don't ever confuse me for my politicians or my media. I am an American, free-born and free-bred, and I will call you out for who you are. An Islamic extremist who would kill me for my beliefs. You don't intimidate me. My freedom is more powerful than anything you can possibly do, and I will never, never surrender my rights to your terror. I will say what I think, worship according to my beliefs, and raise my children how I see fit, and I defend it all with the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. I cower to no one, because I am the National Rifle Association of America, and I am freedom's safest place.
Right swipe. It's gonna be a right swipe. This man has shaved his chest hair into a heart. Oh, you stole mine. Right swipe.
Right swipe, right swipe.
That kind of looks like my sister.
It does.
But I know she's not.
He's cuddling a kitten.
My God, I want to eat their faces.
She's hot.
Oh, wait a minute.
That's a lollipop.
Oh, that is not a lollipop.
Left swipe.
Left swipe.
This must be some kind of joke. If you think you're my type, and I'm my type. Poof your gun in a cloud of smoke. I just left swipe. Bye bye. I just left swipe.
Left swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left.
Yeah.
You gotta swipe it
Left
left.
swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left. This is stuff I don't like, so I gotta
Left swipe that.
Look at you with your shirt off, flexing. You're buff, but you puff, hashtag perplexing. Yeah, you work out, you're in shape, okay. I like the six-pack abs, not the six-packs a day.
Came across a photo of this green-eyed hottie. Whole nine, pretty face, tight waist, nice body. But I just couldn't overlook one small fact. She smokes like an old man at a racetrack.
This must be some kind of joke. If you think you're my type, and I'm my type. Poof your gun in a cloud of smoke. I just left swipe, bye-bye. I just left swipe.
Left swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left.
Yeah.
You gotta swipe it
Left
left.
swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left. This is stuff I don't like, so I gotta
Left swipe that.
Mr. world traveler, your trips look expensive. Sitting on a mountaintop looking all pensive. I was about to ask, how's the air up there? But based on this pic, I guess you don't really care.
Lots of chicks in the pic, not sure which one's you. Them cigarettes are taking y'all from 10s to 2s. And one thing's true about your whole crew, none of you cigarella's gonna be my boo.
Smoking with a tiger?
Let's swipe that.
While you're on a hang glider?
Let's swipe that. Smoking while acting healthy. Let's swipe that.
Smoking all stealthy?
Let's swipe that. Smoking with a duck face. Let's swipe that.
At a monster truck race?
Let's swipe that. Smoking at the prom. Let's swipe that.
Even in a photo bomb?
He don't care. Let's swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left.
Yeah.
You gotta swipe it
Let's
left.
swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left. This is stuff I don't like, so I gotta
Let's swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left.
Yeah. Hashtag.
I'll never remember you.
So very true. Ladies and gentlemen, here is that news story. WJLA, Washington, D.C., attending anti-robbery press conference in D.C. Roll 'em.
The Toyota Camry is available with a...
No, I didn't want you to do that. I can't stand this. I tell you, just when I thought we had this together, we don't. Wait a minute. We're getting it together now. Any moment now. I just wanted. A lot of people think I'm joking, but this is the truth.
Our job is to tell you the news, not to be the news. But today, one of our crews found itself becoming part of the story as they were covering a news conference about a new robbery task force in the district. Now, Stephen Cheetah is live in Southeast D.C. to tell us what happened to them today. Stephen.
Allison, the news conference was going on right behind me, right here by the metro stop. The mayor, Muriel Bowser, was there, police chief Kathy Lanier, and other representatives of public safety agencies. They were talking about this new task force to combat robbery in the city. We were parked right across the street. As the news conference was underway, someone was bashing in the window of our news vehicle. We have some video of that vehicle for you. They made off with a number of valuable pieces of equipment. Now, what the mayor and the chief, what they were talking about for this task force is how it is going to work in real time and target these robbers who hit up a number of people in rapid succession. This is what the mayor had to say.
These people often go on robbery sprees, targeting several victims in a short period of time. And that's why the work of the Robbery Intervention Task Force is so important.
Now, just to underscore how difficult it is to combat these type of crimes, the theft from auto that we experienced, a number of police officers were here at this news conference. They responded within seconds of our return to the car, but the thief or thieves were long gone. And reporting live, Stephen Cheetah, ABC 7 News.
Okay, Stephen, thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not lying to you, ladies and gentlemen. That's the truth. That is the truth. Can I give you another truth real quick before we get Shannon on the air with us tonight? In Newark, New Jersey, home of Krispy Kreme, the governor, a skirmish broke out between rival activists on the steps of City Hall Wednesday during what had been intended as a demonstration against violence. Police were called to the scene after a small crowd began arguing over escalating violence in the city's attempts to curb it. The new press conference was called by a group of activists led by Salam Ismail, co-chair of the New Jersey Study Commission on Violence, and Abdul Muhammad, a longtime Newark anti-vet. So apparently this might have been Shia Sunni. I don't know. Only people. And Newark and Washington, D.C. I'm quite certain this kind of stuff doesn't happen any place. I know it does, but it is just... That is funny. That is so funny. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this young woman is the pride of Baltimore and also New Jersey, and she's taking on the challenges of getting into the politics of urban America, and she is running for the presidency of the Baltimore City Council. We want to introduce to some, present to others, the beautiful, the brilliant, lovable even. She's lovable. Shannon Wright. When she's not getting you straight, she's lovable. That's one ringy dingy, two ringy dings. Just letting you all know. Stay in the chat roll tonight on SHR Media Live, because Sackheads Radio, I believe that they have a new one. They have a new place to go. So I'm not included in the new place to go. I just have my own SHR Media Live place now. Apparently, I think it's kind of like it's like.
I apologize for not being able to catch your clarity on it.
Okay, all right. So we're not going to have her on the air with us tonight. All right, Shannon. See, I just want Shannon to know that is strike one. Strike one, Shannon. Ladies and gentlemen, I lied to you not. I want to give you just a little bit more information about the fight. I had to break away from it. But I want to go back to it real quick. It may have been Sunni, Shia. It may have just been trifling and disgusting, going at each other. But here it is. The two said they, and these are two groups: Salim, or is it Salam? I'm going to go with Salam. Salam Ismail. Coach. You know, there are more Muslim babies being born in this country than any other group. That's what I heard today. That may not be the case, but, you know, percentage-wise. The noon press conference up in Newark. This happened on December 30th. Up in Newark. The news press. This is funny. Salam Ismail, co-chair of the New Jersey Study Commission on Violence, and Abdul Muhammad, a long-term Newark anti-violence activist. They've got into a fight. The two said they plan to ask Mayor Ras Baraka to unleash his quality of life plan in addressing ongoing violence facing Newark residents. As the group spoke to reporters, however, a group of Baraka supporters, including activist Donna Jackson and Tyrone Street Councilor Barnes. Oh my God! Yeah, man. My name is Tyrone Street Councilor Barnes. You know what I'm saying, man? I'm here to counsel you and make you a better human being. You know what I'm saying, man? All I know is probably Sackhead Sean saying he's finally doing to his show what he does to ours. Now, want to play the clip for you real quick. Here we go.
We're here for some very specific reasons. One, the number one reason we're here for the family, Kinsan Mormon, who was a victim of the constant violence and shooting that's going on in our city. He was also a student at Central High School where I was the principal. Now, Principal Brown is also here, to pay our respects to the family and to ask that, anyone that can help this family, please do so. I know that they are still in need of financial assistance. In any monies that can be raised can be sent to 29 North 7th Street. They still have an outstanding bill to bury their son, who and brother and cousin and nephew, who died at a very young age in this city. We also here to talk about all the other deaths in the city of Newark. There was a shooting last night on Mount Prospect in the North Ward. There was a shooting on Summer Avenue in the North Ward. And so we are saying that something needs to be done immediately. We are asking that the police director, when they have the safe summer, they are able to organize as many police officers as possible from the Newark municipality and begin to partner with the county and partner with the state and the surrounding cities to put police officers on the street throughout the summertime. We want him to do that again now, particularly in the South and the West wards, where most of the shooting is taking place and the violence is taking place in Newark. We need more cops on the ground and more cops in the street. We're pleading for the police director to reach out to the state police, to reach out to the surrounding municipalities and engage Operation Safe Summer right now, because we don't need the summer just to be safe. We need the whole year to be safe. When little children are being killed in our streets, we need this to be done urgently and immediately. We're asking you, for the sake of your life and for the sake of the lives of our mothers and grandmothers who are losing their sons and daughters in this community, to put your guns down today. We're here to ask you to do that. You're tired of being shot at, tired of shooting, tired of being involved in illegal activity, we ask you to come for the sake of this mother who is here today mourning her lost child at 15 years old. We're asking you to come out and be a part of what we need to make happen in the city of Newark immediately, to come out and patrol our streets, to talk to these young people, to get them off the corners, to begin to offer them jobs, to offer them workshops, to offer them recreation, anything but murder. Anything but murder. And to all of those naysayers who say this is not going to work, that this is just another ploy or trick, it's better to do something than nothing at all.
My son was a good child. And he had fun and went to parties and dance. He didn't deserve this. And I want justice for other people that lost their family too. I had a brother in 2005 I lost. And now it's my child.
I want everybody to know just that Kason was just like any kid in America. He died at a young age, and he was robbed of his life. And whatever he was today, tomorrow he could have been a doctor, a lawyer. He could have been here in my shoes doing what I am doing today. He was in school every day trying to get an education and make something of himself. His death was untimely and uncalled for in a city where violence has grown terribly out of hand.
Ladies and gentlemen, I understand what that young woman is feeling, not to the extent she lost someone close to her many years ago, and then to lose her child at Christmas time to the gang warfare that's going on in Newark. I understand that there is a noble intention by Councilman Ras Baraka. Very noble. Offer them basketball and offer them summer jobs and offer them... See, the thing is, the drug dealers have conditioned the leaders in urban America to negotiate with them by the number of people they kill. You see, the plea for them to give up their guns, the plea for them to give up their gang violence, the plea for them to give up their drugging, their gang banging, there's always that plea for them to give up. You see, because you don't want to arrest people and put them in jail. But you don't want to see people die either, right? So doing something is better than nothing. You see, in urban America, that is a common misnomer. Somehow, if government pleads on our behalf, as it is the representative of the weaker citizen, the law-abiding citizen is so weak, so broken, that they must be dependent on a representative to be an ambassador to speak to the common evil ones. Not asking the government representative to enforce the power that comes with being we the people, but to go to them and say, listen, in exchange for you not killing people, in exchange for you putting down your drugs, in exchange for you putting down your gang banging, we'll give you a summer job at Tostitos where you can earn $1 an hour. It doesn't matter what dollar it is, $10, $20. These brothers are gangbanging and bringing in $20 per sister an hour who's been kidnapped, stolen from somebody, trained in New York, and sent down to the streets of Miami to hustle and prostitute. $20 an hour is what they make off one hoe. Do you really think Do you really think that they're going to give up their luxurious lifestyle and their ability to stand tall and strong and make you beg them to do right? How foolish do you sound to a man who's holding a gun over your head saying, you don't have to do this, we can make it right? It's crazy. What's even crazier is that we're going to give $23 million to organizations, not these specifically, but like them, that are led by Salam Ismail and Abdul Muhammad. Activists who are so committed to solving the problems of violence that they fight one another. There is gang warfare amongst non-profit agencies, fighting, scraping, trying to get a whole dollar so they can run a program to help themselves first and the children maybe second. And all this time, you're using my tax dollar to act as someone who's representative of a person who's weak. No baby deserves to be shot and killed, but it wasn't the gun that did it. It was the person who held the gun. And you refuse to hold accountable the individuals that are doing it. And you know who they are, because they're repeat offenders. You refuse to enforce the law because they need to be out hustling for you so that they can make certain that they vote for you. It's a dirty game. But somebody's got to put an end to it. It's time for Americans to rise up and stop being prostituted by socialists who only want to keep the game going so they can stay in power. How foolish is it to have a mayor and a police chief with the police all around them and someone robs a media's car? Are these people really the ones who are going to solve our problem? Do you really believe people who subscribe to the Obama cry trick? Which one am I crying in? Which one am I crying in? Oh, I hope the Vaseline works. Do you really trust these people to handle crime? They keep telling you, you must give us more laws so that we can enforce them. How foolish is that in your mind, people who are listening tonight? Thou shalt not kill is already on the books. If someone kills, you need to be able to go after them. Not sit there and negotiate with them about how many summer jobs you want in your neighborhood. Or do you have a safe place so that we can all sing Kumbaya and be better off? We have a problem in urban America. We keep voting in people who want to see us dead. They are buffoons and incompetents. They expect social workers to enforce the law when they already have cops that are being told because of the race that they are that they can't. Ladies and gentlemen, stop it with your Japheth, Ham, and Shem approach to the game of crime. There is only one thing a terrorist respects, and that's death. Anything else is just mere puppetry and negotiations. If you really want to solve our problems in urban America, you would get rid of the buffoons who would allow a media truck to be broken into while they have a anti-robbery task force press conference. They are all socialists, even though they call themselves Democrats. Why am I so bold to say this? Because I've experienced it on both sides. I know they're not there for you. And it's time for you all to wake up and recognize they're really not there for you either. Ladies and gentlemen, a man once told me, live bravely so you'll never die a coward. I promise you I always will. I want to thank all those who have tuned in tonight from around the world to listen to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. We are on Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And we'll be back tomorrow night with the Underground Professor at 10 p.m. Now, for those who have tuned in tonight through High Plains Talk and Rebooting Liberty and SHR Media, stay on. Stay in there. Because the best comedic program of the night is right around the corner. Sackheads Radio with Sackhead Sean, Sackhead Clint, and Free Sacco. From all of us here in Washington, D.C., to all of you around the world, remember, God has already blessed America. It's time now for America to bless God. Good night.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It is the 6th of January, 2016. Happy New Year to you all here on the Sackheads Radio Show. Thank you so much for sticking us out with the new. Thank you to Dan Butcher over at High Plains.
Here's your coffee, sir.
Thank you very much. It's about time. To Dan Butcher over at High Plains for helping us out with what I think is a pretty awesome redo of our webpage. Excellent stuff, and we definitely appreciate all his hard work. Thought you knew what the hell you were talking about? I'd agree.
It sounded awesome, didn't it?
Sackhead Sean, Sackhead Clint, as you can see, finally found himself a microphone.
I finally found you a cup of coffee. You're welcome.
Amen, baby. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. That's what I say. Coming up here in just a few minutes, we have Joseph Rice on the air. Joseph's going to update us on the Hammond Ranch, everything that's going on in Oregon. He's with the Oath Keepers, the Pacific Patriots Northwest, and really gives you an interesting story about what actually happened up there, which we're all about truth on this show, so to finally get some regarding the Hammond Ranch incident would be a nice thing. Real quick, I have to say hello to my good friend Clint. How are you, sir?
I'm well. How are you?
Oh, you know me, just living the dream, baby.
My voice, I don't know if my voice is going to last. I've had this cold for like stinking a week.
Well,
plus.
You don't.
As a matter of fact, we missed last week.